Hello, I am Tahira Endean, and I am here today to talk to you about top breakthroughs in events and meeting technology. Super excited to be here. I'd like to thank Laura from Social Tables for being my lovely in-room host today. And let's go. Here we are. I'm in the great studio of AV Strategies, who were kind enough to videotape this for us so that we didn't have to take any risks in delivering this information to you today. So let's go over the session rules really quickly first. Law of 2 feet. You can always leave. We know it's a little unusual to have something delivered to you by video, but I can guarantee you the content's going to be awesome, so hang in there. Keep an open mind. It's going to be fun. And use all the social media you want to share this story. So we're going to also look at the learner outcomes now. We're going to explore the technologies that are impacting your events, discover how to apply them, and enjoy the process. All right, so we have a big worldview now. Everything we know is changing. How we live, communicate, entertain, and inform ourselves. This is the new reality. It's fast, it's disruptive, it's constantly shifting with the pace of technological innovation. The challenge for our industry is not keeping up with the change, but facing the real opportunity. If you could start with just a brand new sheet of paper, how would you reimagine the way that we're working and producing events? There is a new global generation who've never known a world without smartphones and high-speed digital connections. Digital, social, mobile is our new reality, so let's go. The Internet of Things. One big information system is now running the world. We're all connected. There are more mobile devices, phones and tablets on the planet than there are people. Literally billions. More devices than ever are connected to more things than ever. Nest thermostats, digital TV, PVR from your mobile. A Dutch startup Spark is using wireless sensors to monitor cattle, and Conventus monitors cardiac risks for people. Chocolate factories in San Francisco no longer need overnight staff because their alerts now come via mobile device should anything go off track from its automated processes. In Africa, they've developed a brick which provides power to their devices for hours. Their 3G network is very reliable, their power sources are not. Mobile is integral to everyone's lives. But everyone needs to understand IoT sooner, not later. From smart home networking systems to connected cars and beyond, IoT is going to consume every market. BI Intelligence estimates that by 2019, the IoT market will be more than double the size of the smartphone, PC tablet, connected car, and wearable markets combined. In 2016, we need to understand that the internet and the real world are not two disparate things, but rather a connected framework. Today, anyone can tap a button on their phone to summon a driver. What will we be able to do tomorrow? And what does this have to do with events? So if we look at the Internet of Things, as the CES Trends to Watch report stated, the Internet of Things enables household or more traditional products to connect with portable network devices like PCs and smartphones. The Internet of Things is making it possible to connect anything and everything to the Internet. What does this mean for mobile event apps? What does this mean for how they're going to positively impact our events? Well, the possibilities are endless. From the ability for attendees to interact with exhibitors' goods on the trade show floor, to meeting planners being able to adjust room temperatures or refresh coffee stations from their phones. The possibilities are endless. We're already seeing many of the large hotel chains connect specific meeting concierges to the meeting planners via an app, and instant messages allow them to respond in real time. We're seeing convention centers with real-time access via an app to what's happening on the floor and in the rooms, with their managers on duty connected directly to security and engineering, housekeeping, and banquets able to respond even before a planner knows a response is needed sometimes. This ties back to the simplification principle. Now it's simplifying the planner's life, and that is golden. All right, we are shifting to automate. Cloud services are going to rule the world. 21st century companies will be innovative by design. The cloud is automating the transactional parts of everyone's jobs, forcing those that remain to be more strategic. Run an audit. How much of your team's activities are focused on actions that can or should be automated? How integrated is data from your operations with the rest of your enterprise or your client's business? When we look at business intelligence, these systems often reach right up to the C-suite, offering customized dashboard views of key operational data drawn from myriad other systems throughout the organizations. The goal of any BI system is to enable better decision-making backed by relevant data points. And as the meeting planner, you are now helping to create these new and relevant data points. Adding event app analytics into the mix is providing valuable context from key field-level on-site activities, including trade shows and conferences. For example, you can now correlate orders for a new product to its successful launch at an event where people checked into the launch session and downloaded relevant product information contained within the app. As with registration systems, this extra layer of context enriches the value of data passing through your BI system while validating the decision to invest in an event as the experience. Metrics, data, and analytics. The experience is no longer about having an app. It's about the analytics that inform the interaction. Companies use a variety of techniques to understand and measure the value of their meetings, including traditional post-event satisfaction surveys, pre- and post-event attendee surveys measuring progress against key objectives, or reviewing engagement metrics, which can often come via your mobile app data. Agreeing on key metrics for the meeting before planning begins should help keep the meeting owners and planners focused on delivering against these metrics. Micro moments, what is exactly what we're seeking at our meetings, require a deep understanding of what a customer wants and how and where they want critical information delivered. This is informed by aggregated local, historic, and operational context and requires real-time data integration with internal and third-party data. This sounds like a lot, but let's look at where our leads come from, because ultimately this is what you're using your events for. As a business, you need to know where they're coming from. Now more than ever for your business and your events, you need to be digitally enabled. You have to spend some time socially connecting and building the online relationships, which then take your face-to-face relationships to a new starting point and influence the buying decisions, often positively for you. All right, let's talk about CRMs. I'm going to ask Laura to do a show of hands in the room and see how many people are using customer relationship management tools. Because if your organization is not currently using a CRM, this slide is not for you. But for many, CRM systems are often the backbone of your organization's sales, marketing, membership, and customer service operations. Integrating your system with your mobile event app ensures the customer activity at your events is maintained in your CRM system. We now have these very powerful connection points. It can also empower your employees with complete customer records when they're serving clients in your booth. This is also important. The next thing we're going to look at is registration. Most, if not all, organizations rely on an online registration system to manage both internal and external, consumer or non-member attendee events. Sharing registration profiles within your mobile app platform is going to extend the value of both platforms by simplifying your access, improving personalization, and extending usability. Basic integration includes the information you choose to share, creating your login credentials and your scheduling. You'll also decide what information can be carried forward and what participants can choose to add themselves in terms of information, such as email or direct phone contacts as examples. Deeper integration can extend to your speakers, your exhibitors, your sponsors, with profile building capabilities and links to more information. When you have your systems tightly integrated, meaning data is only being entered once, you're saving up time, which is, as we all know, one of our most precious resources. Ultimately, you can let participants register for events in either one, the online registration site, or in an app, which assists you in building community and extending your marketing reach. In this case, payment information is stored at the source, the site you send them to for registration, so you're not storing credit card or other information in places you don't want to be, so security concerns become negligible. One of the many reg systems, Eventbrite, they really get it. The knowledge that events are social, and when we're anticipating attending an event, we want to tell people. And when your participants tell their network, this is the best form of influence marketing. Sponsorship. Is it easy? It's never easy. But here's a great thing. So look at any Kickstarter type of campaign. This particular thing that Eventbrite is doing with SponseEasy is taking that concept and applying it to events, making your sponsorship proposals for you in minutes using the information you supply. Really a great way of doing something we've been doing for a long time and need to continue to do better. All right, let's look at some productivity and some cool stuff. Slack. Every event requires a team. Every team needs to communicate to be successful. Slack, Basecamp, Wrike, Asana, you have a lot of choices for how you communicate, share information, and have it all available from anywhere. But having a tool is the real point. You'll never forget to CC someone again. Drones, ubiquitous, used for government surveillance and wedding photos. They offer a way to capture images that are memorable, but also have FAA regulations attached, and of course privacy issues. So use them when it makes sense, but know the rules. As you can see on here, South by Southwest, they just said, hold on, no drones at our event, thank you very much. All right, management by tablet. Who's doing that? The binder is really a dodo bird of events now. So plan on how you will share your on-site information both online and offline from the beginning of your process. Make it simple for your team. Location, location, location. Let's review the various location-based technologies. We're now seeing coupons and offers coming up as you pass specific booths using near-field communication and RFID. And Bluetooth built right into your smartphones now being enabled. Every phone has about 7 sensors in it, so there's a lot going on there. This is done most often using beacon technology. It senses you nearby and it can count you anonymously, which is useful for the planners, help you track traffic patterns, or you can have your ID attached and it will ping a person specifically with a notification, something you're interested in, a company, a learning opportunity, or an individual may be nearby. One thing I love, imagine not having to scan to track CEUs. The system knows what session you attended, if you stayed for the whole session, and then it's going to connect that information directly into your learning management system. No more manually tracking what you attended to maintain a certification, as an example. Great for everybody. All right, so here's some really fun stuff. Scanalytics floor pads, literally people just walk over them and you find out information about the traffic patterns in your show. So those are always fun. OLE, on-location engagement. Originally, this was used for venues. You set an engagement zone, and once the smartphone and its user enter the zone information, or an activity, or about an activity comes to life on your device. Great for venues, but really great for events. So there's certainly other apps for doing this. LocoPass is a Vancouver-based example of a company using beacon technology with a smartphone app with short-range tracking, suitable for trade show floors. Lots of fun stuff out there. City heat mapping. When you have location-based tracking enabled in your app, as an example shown here, you can see how your group moves through a city. You can actually even track it back to when they leave their airport, so you can see where everyone's coming from, which is pretty cool. Session heat mapping. This beautiful map shows how your group moves through a venue. The darker times on this graph are indicating the general session room and lunch by time, but it also lets you see the time, trackable location for sessions, events, activities. You can see what was popular when. Did people go where you expected them to go? All right, this is just fun stuff. GPS luggage. You want to know where you are on your flight? You want to know where your luggage is? You want to know if it's with you? Well, now you will. It's all right there. Even more fun though, scooter luggage. Now this is what I want, especially if I'm somewhere like Chicago. Charging furniture. We're seeing this all over the place. This is, really the way of the future because that's the first thing people are looking for. Make them comfortable. Lots of ways it's coming up in couch arms, beside chairs, built into benches. Really great opportunities here. Let's look at the shared economy and why it matters. Here's the reality. Millennials are going to be the first generation that make less money than the generation before them in all of history. So what they're looking for is access, not ownership. Just makes sense. Use your resources in a smarter way. So how are we seeing that? Well, Airbnb. Few things have been more impactful on our industry than this, or more disruptive. This is actually pulled from January 11th, so it's now December. I was looking for January 11th in Orlando. Check this out. Only 9% of Airbnbs still have rooms for the time that you guys are here right now for this special event. So it's being used. Let's look at this though. The internet and mobile technology has magnified sharing potential exponentially. Hesitations users may have had about safety and experience quality associated with sharing services is declining. Better rating systems, social media integration. The reality is you check them out, they check you out. Applications can dissolve the planner's role and influence in arranging core services though, like rooms and transport. Traditional regulation, licensing, taxation models governing what is shared are struggling to respond to the new sharing model in ways that addresses unfair advantages, such as room rentals that circumvent hotel taxes or share cars that don't require taxi licensing. Another example, obviously Uber. It's all about using the resources available at the best price available. So again, first generation to make less money, we need to actually spend smarter. So it's about really this reality, but you can start to see with this slide, Uber is now, you can get SPG points, you can get Hyatt points. So hotels are really starting to understand how to work with shared services. Meeting planners need to do the same thing. Other disruptors, valet disruptor, Lux. You can just call them and they'll park your car for you. Fashion disruptor, rent the runway. So instead of buying a great dress, you rent a great dress. So instead of $9,000, it might be $38 and it's shipped to your door, you just return it. Pretty cool. AV disruptor, Show Slice. This has started in the UK. So what they're monitoring is that if you have 2 shows coming in, what's the overlap for those shows for their audiovisual? How can you save money? And then their slice is they're actually taking a percentage of those savings, and that's their business model, which is pretty interesting. And Meeting Space, Liquid Space, working on a similar principle. So disruptive, disruptive, disruptive. Disruptive delivery, magic, anything you want. You know, when people say, I need that pink elephant, text Magic, see if they can find it for you. Uber delivery, Amazon delivery. So again, where it used to be very difficult to get things places, it's really now getting a lot simpler in many ways. Ease of access. So food is delivered to you easily. OpenTable is an easy way to make reservations. Hotels.com, Booking.com, all of those things. Everybody who is attending our events has multiple ways now to attend an event, to access an event, to get to where they're going. And we need to respond to that. So Forrester says, this is the year of the customer. Digital systems will accelerate, particularly with mobile, as more organizations look to serve their customers across multiple touch points and an evolving journey. Digital pros that help tie them together via partner ecosystems that connect customers across with their personal ecosystems. For example, digital pros will create new partnerships with mobile platforms as customers spend time in fewer apps. They're going to be spending their money in ways that are easy to access. All right, this is really fun. So we think we're not really using mobile for that much. Count up how many apps you have. There's lots of them. Bazinga is a really fun one. So if you think your participants are scared of going mobile, are not ready for mobile, are not going to adopt your app, you are not giving enough credit to the way we have actually changed how we manage communications and tasks in our daily lives. For now, in the foreseeable future, with no mobile strategy, you're going to quickly lose relevance as a consumer-focused organization, as an event, as an association. Make it simple for people. We're also consuming content differently. So Flipboard is one example of the new way we're consuming data. We're not waiting for magazines to come to our mailbox. We're not opening every email we get. We're choosing where we find our information by creating our own magazines digitally, by seeking information when we want it. If we are planning meetings and assuming our participants want to be spoon-fed information, think again about the new reality of how we want our information personalized, and think about how you can translate this knowledge to make your events more personal, more interactive, more memorable. Use tools that are going to create your own custom magazine, your own personal experience of your own event. That's cool. When we start to look at some other integrations that are going to come from this, it's with our learning management, it's with our content management, it's with our social, with our scheduling. Make it, again, using the tool that's already in people's purses and pockets, tie that into your event. Make it part of it. All right, let's talk about social media. Social media now just simply needs to be part of your marketing mix. Thank goodness Twitter walls are not showing up behind our speakers again. Passé, thank goodness. But being able to aggregate the usage and to visually show who your influencers are, what stories are being shared at your event, this remains interesting. So this is just one aggregator for Twitter, but other solutions that share the views of multiple platforms and include a Flipboard style look, including video, are available and can be used to add social decor to your events. And there's lots of those out there. Social media vending machines, how fun is this? You tweet in the code, the vending machine responds to that code by giving you a prize. Love that. Cell phones. This is a picture just taken at an average event. Look at all the cell phones in the audience. Everyone is arriving with them. You have to be using the tool that they're arriving with to augment and enhance your event. Social, just do it. It's about action, not eyeballs. Who cares if you got 20,000 impressions? Who cares if you got 20 million impressions? An impression is merely the number of times something is seen. Consider the average person is exposed to 300 to 700 marketing messages a day. It's safe to say an impression will be far from lasting. So if not impressions, what are you looking for? Well, at events, engagement. Attendees are no longer passive in anything they do or expect, and mobile plays a key role in disseminating their findings. According to the Pew Research Center, 74% of adults use social media networks, and of those, 41% share content they discover within their social networks. From sharing to commenting to retweeting, encouraging their engagement with your content is where your efforts should be focused to get the highest ROI on the time you have spent strategizing, creating, and launching your event and the social media content that's going to come out of it. People on the right there, those are people from 4 countries, really great friends that I met originally, all on Twitter, all online, part of the Event Profs community. Great way to stay connected to people. And Laura's boss, Don, right down there in the bottom. Meeting design. All right. Virtual audience engagement. We really need to look at how we're using meeting design amongst all of our audiences. Let's start with floor plans. Social tables, you guys will have seen them a lot during the special event this year. What they're doing now is you can put their floor plan into a Google Cardboard. You take your client into the room, woof, hold it up, look around. They see their event come alive in that space. Pretty cool. Sound. Sound is super important for our event. 70 decibel rule, you want to try and apply this, which means that what makes people productive in a meeting room, in a coffee shop is exactly the same thing. We like a certain hum of noise that comes along with that. So when you're thinking about the volume for your events, sometimes it's a dance party. Most of the time, try to keep it around here. Hybrid. We're going to talk a little bit more about hybrid in a minute. We're going to do an interview with Bruce from AV Strategies here as part of this event today. But this was a fun event where we created one world. This particular slide shows Switzerland, Massachusetts, and New York all coming together. In fact, Liz King was our hybrid host. This was in 2011, and she did all of that online from New York for us. So when it's time to include a hybrid, well, what you need is to create that human factor. Great hosts are required. These are some of my favorites. Garrett is in Holland, and Emily and Glenn are both from the US here. You might even see 1 or 2 of them around the show. Really important to marry the technology with the people for hybrid. It's about connecting your virtual audience, creating that sense of FOMO, that sense of I want to be there for your virtual audience has turned out to be one of the best ways to market our events for the next year. And you can do that with a virtual chat room as well. So where you're really working with a host, a great host, this is Mary Reynolds Kane from PCMA, is engaging with the audience, the virtual audience, telling them what's going on, sharing stories of what's happening there, getting their opinions and their feedback and their questions. Make hybrid great.
Well, I think what we see from an audiovisual point of view is clients want to connect audiences. They want to connect the audience in the room, but they also want to connect their virtual audience. And more than just connecting them, they want to engage them. So they're using things like social media, they're using event apps, they're using all kinds of technologies to bring those audiences together and to engage them in new ways that we haven't really seen in the past. From a technical point of view, it is important for event planners to engage audiovisual companies early in the process. There are things that we really need to take into account. So we're trying to put together the technical solution for what's going to happen inside of the room, but we're also trying to put together the technical solution for what the virtual audience is going to see. And those two things often compete with one another. So it's really important to engage the audiovisual company to start that planning process early, to make sure that all of the pieces fit together so that you've got a great experience for attendees in the room and a great experience for attendees online. Certainly having an understanding of your budget is important ahead of time. Like any aspect of your conference, you need to understand what your budget is for your food and beverage, what your budget is for registration, what your budget is for AV, what your budget is for lighting, those kinds of things. If you're going to have a hybrid component, budget appropriately for that. But don't be afraid of even going there because of the worry of the extra cost. If the planning is done in advance, I think most people are surprised that adding those kinds of components to an event don't add a significant amount of cost, but they do require some really good strategic planning about how you're going to execute those things and who you're going to need to help you execute those things. I mean, having a successful hybrid event is about having the right team members involved. I know that when we do engage audiences online, we have specialists on site to deal with the video conferencing aspect. when we put together an app for a client, we have a specialist on site to make sure that any glitches are managed along the way. So in order to engage audiences properly, that process needs to be easy, because we don't want them to be turned off with their first experience because it's rough or it doesn't go smoothly. So ensuring that you've got the right team in place is critical to that. So if someone has problems logging on to the app, for instance, there's someone there that can help them through that process. If you are doing a Skype video conference and you're bringing some kind of an expert in to speak, that those things are taken care of in advance, that the planning is done so that that process goes smoothly. We want to make sure that the technology doesn't get in the way of the experience, and so when it does, when the technology becomes more of the focus than the actual content, then people seem to see that there's less value in it. So I think that getting the right team in place, getting the right technology in place, not skimping on little things to ensure that that part of your conference goes smoothly.
Video streaming and second screens. What we're doing today is video streaming, so it continues to offer a broader dimension to information delivery in our sector, with the hybrid event likely to extend the virtual experience. There's still a certain novelty, however, and much attention is still on the technology rather than on the information conveyed. So that's where we want to put our focus on. Engage me. Creating powerful experiences in the digital age is more important than ever, but it goes far beyond getting logistics and schedules right. Experience engineering is about planning for how you will engage people's emotions and senses in both physical and expanded virtual environments. All right, let's look at some fun stuff. The robot. So robot bartenders, there's many versions of these now. This is really fun. So why not have one of those at your event? When we start talking about social and visual tools, we've got things like the Generate app. So this is being used around the world right now at events where it's essentially a video and photo filter, but also a way of sharing and connecting information through your event, through your app, in a way that is visually more interesting and getting people pretty excited. Well, if we're gonna have mobile devices, we need to charge them. This is my new favorite way, Bionic Power, walk with me, talk with me, charge with me. Literally you put them on and you can plug up to 4 devices in and keep them charged, so that's a pretty fun thing. 365-day community. Once you start collecting information, creating those apps, you can start to extend that conversation online, but in hand, in pocket, and really build a community around it. Other kinds of robots, so we have one in our office at the Innovation Council. We call him Sheldon. This is at the Fresh Conference. Obviously, you can tell that by the sign. The robot there, this is a great story. It was a woman who was not able to attend the conference because she had a baby. Great story, but she still wanted to be part of it, and so she actually joined the conference by robot. She would sneak up on people as they were in buffet lines, surprising people. Again, just adding that little thing that happens at an event that people enjoy. Wearables, this is definitely the next thing. Fitbit, Apple and other watches, Pebble, jewelry styled items that track your fitness, Google Glass, it's gone a little bit out, but it's still out there, Jawbone. There's no end to what we're willing to share information with. So who would have thought we'd be measuring heartbeats, and by this tracking our emotional states during events? Imagine your new wearable is tracking your heart rate, your calendar, who you meet with and when, begins to track who you're excited to see, who upsets you, should be avoided, begins to remind you or your social network of what is about to happen to you emotionally. So where we're going with wearables is really pretty interesting. We can now use this kind of technology with sensors people already have with them to gauge the excitement level in a room. It is pretty fascinating. All right, Catchbox, one of my favorite things. I think AV Strategies is the Canadian dealer for Catchbox, which is great. It's a tossable microphone in a nice big foam container, very safe. You just throw it around. No more microphone runners, love that. Apple Watch, so we're now building apps that just show up on your watch with your key information coming up. People who have them love them. People who don't have them are probably waiting to get them. But again, it's another way of creating an interaction point within our events. Hover from Event Farm, great product. Idea being you're not looking down, you're looking up. In this, what's happening is people are dancing to a song that they love. They're holding up their name badge, which has the hover built into it. they are downloading that song straight to their mobile device by holding it up. So people are looking up, having fun, getting information. You can use that same technology to walk up to the bar, you scan it, it says, "Hey Mike, I'm just wondering, did you want that cold beer or would you prefer something else to drink?" You choose the cold beer, and from behind a curtain your cold beer is delivered just because you've scanned that card in. Also pretty fun. Crowdsourcing content. So great ways of doing this. You can really keep your content relevant. You can get people interested in talking about what they want to talk about and what people want to hear about. And you can do that without a lot of post-it notes and a lot of managing and trying to map things out. All that information can be right there. All right, Oculus Rift. This is a great activation that was done by Marriott. So they took this across the US last year, and when you would step in, you'd put on the glasses and you would go through a 4D experience of touring through 2 different properties, really feeling what it would feel like through the visualization, a little bit of shifting, a little bit of mist. Really good use of the technology. Again, a couple of more great uses of the technology. This was at South by Southwest. In one of them, they did why you shouldn't text and drive. I love that. Put on the glasses and see what's going to happen as you start to text and drive. Really, really impactful. Augmented reality is another going to be an important thing that we're doing. This was a fun activation in a booth with Quick Mobile that we did, where you literally would hold your phone up and all of a sudden more information pops up by video. You can use this kind of AR really simply for events, from medical conventions where all of a sudden, you scan over it and it opens up a bunch of new information for you, or for doing an invitation to a party. Imagine that you get you see a poster for what the party is going to be, scan over, just holding it up over the picture, all of a sudden what you should be wearing, what kind of music is going to be playing is all right there for you. So augmented reality is impacting everything that we're doing that's cool, which is fun. Speechio. Speechio is a really fun way of a second screen technology that is letting you share information really simply. It's in beta right now, so you can still test it out. Speech Booth, this is great. This is for $799. These guys will send you the entire setup with an iPad. People go up during your wedding, during your event. They tell their stories. You send the whole thing back. You get back all of the raw video files, and you also get an edited version of what happened at your event. Super fun. I love it. And you get, if you send it back, then you get a good chunk of that money that you paid back as well. Crowd mics. So crowd mics, if you haven't seen this or tried this yet, this is turning every mobile device into a microphone in a room. So wireless technology, super simple, great way of, again, avoiding those mic runners. 3D modeling, well, of course, we're 3D printing everything now. So you can do a 3D selfie, you can do doodle signatures, lots of different ways of bringing 3D fun into your events and print things really simply. How fun is this? Captured dimensions. Look how happy those kids are to get their very own figurines. So this is a great thing that you can do at the event and then send them out later. Takes a little while to do the printing. Limbic Media, this is a company based in British Columbia where I live, and they are doing some fantastic art and music installations around the world, integrating light technology with sound. On the one side there, the social sharing, those discs that they have, is a great way of getting people to network with each other, because as you start talking and bring those together, you can bring together chains of color, you can make rainbows with people. So for people who aren't so comfortable with, want a reason to go and talk to people, really fun way of creating interaction. All right, holy, did you guys hang on for that ride? That was pretty fun. So that's all of the technology for today. I'm sure that you guys are going to see more technology out there. Please take pictures and tweet me back at Tahira Creates. I'd love to see what else you guys are seeing out there. This is a great white paper that Andrea Sullivan from Brain Strength did. So brainstrength.net, you can download it. It's 35 pages, I think, but it talks about how technology impacts brains at events. Amazing information there. Meeting design meets the digital age. Yep, that has already happened. So just do it. If you have more to share, technology has to enhance the human experience. So thank you guys so much for listening. We're going to try and bring me in now via Skype or Google or one of those technologies, and we'll do a little live Q&A with you. So I really appreciate you staying for this unusual presentation, and we'll talk soon.